I show 6 o'clock, so we're going to call the regular meeting of the Charter Township of Garfield Board to order. We'll start with a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and can we have a roll, please?
Schmuckel.
Here.
Augustinelli.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Laney McManus.
Here.
McCumber.
Here.
And Joe McManus.
Here, thank
And
you.
it's noted that Lori Lapp is absent and excused.
Thank you. All right, first item on our agenda is public comment. We do have public comment at the beginning and at the end of each meeting. I do not see any public hearings tonight, so at this point, I would open up public comment. If there's anything you'd like to tell us or let us know, now is your chance, first chance to come up and do that. And as more often than not the case, I don't see anybody going up there, so we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to review and approval of the agenda. And if anybody has any conflicts of interest, now would be a great time to let us know about that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such request will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. Tonight you have minutes, April 22nd, 2025, regular meeting, recommend approval. Bills from the general fund, $344,715.66, recommend approval. Grand Traverse County 2024 delinquent taxes report, receive and file. Final ARPA spending plan, receive and file. Consideration of approving charitable gaming license for Northwest Michigan Invasive Species Network Resolution 2025-10-T, recommend approval. Consideration of Joint Recreational Authority proposed annual budget for fiscal year 25-26, recommend approval. And consideration of donating $5,000 to the Boom Boom Club for Independence Day fireworks, recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there any item anybody in the staff or anybody on the board would like to have removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda? Any items staff would like to have removed? Any items anybody in the public would like to have removed and placed elsewhere? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and supported to adopt the consent calendar as presented. Ann, could we have a roll on that, please?
Costelli.
Yes.
Corn.
Yes.
Laney McManus.
Yes.
Cumber.
Yes.
Muckle.
Yes.
And Jay McManus.
Yes. Thank you, Ann. All right, moving on. Correspondence. TC Connect Business Growth Barometer Survey results. Is that just in our packet, Chris, for our review, or is that?
Yes, it's in the, yep,
So we're not really covering that tonight? Okay.
just FYI.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Move on to reports. Our first report is the County Commissioner's report.
Good evening, Lauren Flynn, County Commissioner, District 2. Recently, we commemorated that May is Teen Pregnancy Prevention and Awareness Month. We also commemorated that it was also Police Week and Correction Officers Staff Week last week. So thank you for your sacrifice and service. We created an ad hoc to look into the animal control and humane society. In the process, when animals are mistreated, we did receive a lot of emails about Mighty Mac. I'm sure you all heard about this situation. So there will be an ad hoc bringing all those folks together to discuss the process and not blaming anybody, but just kind of closing in to make sure everyone is taken care of. We had a public hearing to go over the proposed septic code. Public comment and other suggestions were taken, and an updated code will be coming back to the board. There were some clarifications that need to be made. We are continually getting updates on Project Alpha, especially moving closer to getting it started, especially with the EOC building. That's top priority. Also, there is going to be a Safe Routes school audit coming up around West Middle School and Frankie Road and TCAPS Montessori on the first meeting is May 22nd. And then the actual audit will be determined after the May 22nd meeting. A Ginger Smith will be helping TCAPS with that. So I think that's really important for Garfield Township. Also next week, there is a celebration at the Opera House for the Women's Resource Center and Children's Advocacy Center on Thursday out in Leelanau. So if you want to celebrate or advocate for those two nonprofits, we'd love to see your faces there. As always, any questions?
Any questions for Commissioner? All right. I guess
All right,
none.
thank you. You know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you. Sheriff's report.
Good evening, Roy Rasco, Sheriff Department. The stats for the month were 122 e-citations were written. Garfield Township had 10 reported personal injury accidents, 42 property damage accidents, 9 drunk driving arrests, 78 criminal arrests in the township, which the biggest thing this last month was that Luke Anderson, one of the township CPOs, was promoted to the DB, and then a couple weeks later, fortunately for Deborah, we lost Deborah St. Croix to the DB. So at this point, James Hunter has been put into Garfield Township. He's been doing a great job already. He's probably been in the township for 2 or 3 weeks. He's worked close with Derek and some of the housing people that we have available to us, and they've been working with the homeless quite a bit, identifying different locations and trying to find places for people that they come across. So James has been doing a great job. So right now, there's one spot open on what we call our Team 1 CPO spot. And what'll happen is Andrew Veith is a young deputy that just put in for that spot. So hopefully I can get him in Garfield Township in the next couple weeks well, that'll happen in the next couple weeks. And then Brad Kirkpatrick has let us know that he's retiring, and his last day will be May 21st. So I'll have another spot to fill. And with as busy it is in the township, we can't leave that spot. And obviously, it's being paid for by the township, so we need to get it filled as soon as possible. So, Cole, Rosa, Andrew Veith, and James Hunter are the CPOs at this point, and then Jessica's still out at the school, and she's still busy. It'll help when school is out because she'll come back to the road and help out with calls and complaints and stuff like that. So it's been pretty busy just trying to keep track of personnel. And we did 6 or 7 oral interviews today, and 4 look good, 3 passed their PT tests, so we'll see how that goes. But they wouldn't be available to attend the academy until the end of August, and then they wouldn't be out of the academy until December, so we run into that. Questions? And we'll keep working on the hot spots, and like I said, James, with the garbage and things like that, even if it's on private property, we'll just kind of keep trying to get things cleaned up.
Is obviously, the intent is to hire replacements. It's just a long process to do that. So you guys are in the process of hiring and continually probably hiring, I assume.
Yeah, we have one gentleman that's in the academy. He'll graduate this weekend, and then he'll start probably immediately, but he'll have to be the 3.5 months of training. And then these people we interviewed today, and then we have more interviews tomorrow, will be sponsorships, but the academy doesn't start to the end of August.
Okay.
And then they wouldn't graduate from the academy till mid-December.
Okay.
So
Yeah, all right.
hopefully we'll find a few guys that want to transfer from other departments. If we can find one or two, we'll be fine.
Yeah,
But we'll get those spots in Garfield filled ASAP.
all right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Roy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Roy.
Okay. Grand Traverse Metro Fire.
Good evening, Paul Mackin, Grand Traverse Metro Fire Department. In your packet, you have the Grand Traverse Metro ENFRS incidents for April 2025. First page, you have the side-by-side of the overall incidents with Garfield and Metro. Medical assist always continue to be our largest category with 247 incidents within the township, as opposed to the 325 total in Metro, followed by emergency medical services, other, some dispatch canceled en route, and alarm system activations unintentional. Vehicle accidents, just a handful with 6 for the month within Garfield, 8 total within Metro, and followed by some other alarms and other types of incidents. You can see the total for Garfield for the month of April was 377 incidents in comparison to 527 for Metro as a whole. Just some statistics on the next page for our EMS complaints. In April, again, falls always seem to be one of our top incident complaints, with 70 of those incidents within Garfield and 98 total within Metro, followed by difficulty breathing or shortness of breath, 36 of those incidents within the township and 44 within the Metro, followed by cardiac issues at 29 for the township, 36 in Metro, and then just moving down, we had infections and some unknown problems with person down, et cetera. Lift assists, 13 within the township, and as you can kind of go through and just see just a variety of different complaints, but the total for the township was 325 of those incidents in comparison to 448 within Metro. Moving to the next page, we have the incident breakdown within the townships of the 527 total incidents. 72% or 377 of those were within Garfield Township. 18% or 97 incidents within East Bay Township. 8%, 44 incidents in Acme, and then 9 and just 2% out of the area. We also have the traditional breakdown by station, which you can see our Station 11 is kind of leading at 31% of those incidents with 166. Station 1 is following at 27% with 142, followed by Station 12. You can see then Station 8 at 11% and Station 9 at 6%. The next graphic, the bar chart on the bottom, is a new graphic. We've just been having some discussions about the overall activity of the crews in terms of the incidents and the responding to. The breakdown by station that you typically get is the call assigned to that station. So if that call falls within that station's still area, that station gets credit for that call. But we were having some conversations. I wanted to see, well, what's the activity level? Because we know that some of our incident types, like vehicle accidents and some of the other fire responses, we're sending multiple units. Or potentially, if that unit is tied up and another station is responding to cover for another station. So we were able to put together this graphic here. This represents our responses by station versus the incidents. So again, same information, but it's kind of interesting when you compare our Station 1, as I reported previously, 142 responses or calls, but there's actually 198 incidents coming from Station 1. And I'll jump over to Station 11, which is typically one of our busiest stations as well. 166 incidents, but 190 responses. And you can obviously see the rest of the graphics there. Some of them, like Station 9, there's not a big disparity between calls assigned to that area and the responses, 30 and 32. But it is kind of interesting to look at those differences between 100, Station 1, Station 11. There's some significant differences in activity there. So again, total incidents, 527, but responses, we had 641. So that's just something that we're monitoring. I thought I'd share that with you. A couple just things to mention, things that are ongoing or highlights. Our fiscal year 24 audit is complete. That's done. We have it for review. It'll be presented at our board meeting this month. With that done, our administration is currently working on our fiscal year 2026 budget. We're working, putting that together. Right now, we're utilizing the existing millage that we have. That's our intention, our plan. As you're well aware, we did see some property value increases. I think we're around 10% total. So, doing fairly well there in regards to that. Our board's finance committee is going to be tentatively scheduled to meet in June. So we're going to review that budget with them, work with them on that, present it, and then ultimately, if everything is good, present it to our full board at the following meeting. So some, continued progress. Hopefully at some point later this summer, we'll be bringing that to the board and then ultimately bringing it to you for approval as well. In the area, everyone's pretty well aware, the DNR has been reporting elevated fire risks due to dry conditions. The burn permits have been closed or remain closed. Most of the upper lower has pretty much been closed for a while and continues to be. Our local permits within the township remain closed. We have responded to a few smaller brush fires within Metro's jurisdiction, but we have assisted both Blair and Paradise Townships on some larger fires. Our crews have also been busy conducting our boat operations training with the weather getting better, some drone training with our new drone, along with some routine fire and emergency medical skills. We had some members attend a couple conferences, a hazmat conference in Boyne and a Homeland Security conference down in Grand Rapids. We did receive a PAR grant for $2,400 essentially for some enhancements to our Station 1 security camera system, so we're happy to get that. And then we're also in the process right now of evaluating all of our stations, our facilities. We reported to our board that we're doing a kind of an in-house facilities condition assessment. We're looking at that so we can identify any deficiencies, estimate any useful life for certain things like our drives, our HVACs, our roofs for all those facilities. We're going to use that to forecast any necessary maintenance and or replacements. We're essentially doing this so we can use it as a budgetary and planning tool. So we'll be, we have one building left to do. We've gone through most of them, just finding asphalt, parking lots, roofs, like I said, HVA, a couple rooftop units. We have a number of them that are pretty much at their exceeded life and a number of other things that we've kind of run across. So we're putting that together. We'll present that to our board. So that completes my report for this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Question.
Yes.
I'm looking at your graph with incidents and responses. Are
Yes.
those responses all within Metro? Or
Ye-
are those responses also including ones that?
Those will include that 2% of out of area.
So out of areas
Yeah.
in there too? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, I guess that's
All right.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Well, appreciate it. The planning department report for May. Steve?
Good evening, Steve Hannon, Deputy Planning Director. You have our report in your packets. I'll just try to highlight a few things in there. Some things that the board has either seen aspects of or maybe seeing down the line. The two that they've seen some aspects of these are the Gauthier multifamily development on US 31 at the across from Hartman Road. This is the property that did the housing tax increment financing that came to the board last year. we're reviewing the findings of fact, draft findings of fact at the Planning Commission tomorrow. And the other one is the High Tops nightclub, restaurant, sports bar proposed in part of the Cherryland. They had proposed in a different portion of Cherryland Center and ultimately withdrew that application. They're coming back at a different portion of it, this time in the Yonkers. So this is the first time Planning Commission will be seeing that application tomorrow. And a few things down the line that the board may be seeing. There's a rezoning application on Hammond Road. Public hearing is tomorrow at Planning Commission. They'll be seeing an introduction to a proposed amendment to the plan unit development, Lake Point plan unit development on Oak Hollow. There was originally proposed some office buildings at a piece of the property across from Medali Park, pretty much right across the river from there. Proposed to amend that to do some additional housing. And tomorrow the Planning Commission is also introducing a proposed zoning ordinance amendment. They've been studying at a few study sessions a definition of substantial construction and making some changes and additions to the lighting regulations. Planning Department, otherwise, we've been doing a lot of administrative reviews. Since this was printed, we've actually received a couple more. Just keep working on them one at a time as they come in. And otherwise, we responded to East Bay Township did a sub-plan for the Beach District as an amendment to their master plan and as an adjacent community. Planning Commission took a look at that. They didn't have any specific comments, but we did use one of their essentially public engagement sessions. The presentation for that was put on YouTube, and it doubled as a training module, essentially. So we watched that at one of the study sessions. And we also talked about our priority projects upcoming. And otherwise, staff, myself and zoning administrator Mike Green, we went to a workshop with the Regional Land Conservancy. They shared some data on how they go about identifying like priority pieces of land to conserve, either through if they try to acquire it or help a community acquire it or even do something like conservation easements. A lot of the major priorities for them were further out. They have a multi-county service area, and a lot of the larger pieces of property to conserve were elsewhere. But if there are opportunities or if there's something that the township wants to investigate, they have partnered with us or others in the past, and they're certainly a resource. So it was definitely informative. Anybody have any questions?
That rezoning of the Scuzzle property,
Mm-hmm.
does that in essence put that in conservation?
Yeah, the larger of the two parcels, the application includes two parcels. The larger of it already has a conservation easement from a couple years ago, and then this would extend that onto that.
And they did that all on their own with no subsidies or donations?
They did, as far as I know. Yeah, they worked with Regional Land Conservancy to do that conservation easement. Yeah, but as far as I know, that was all them. So, yeah.
It's unusual.
It's certainly not a request we see every day, but yeah, it's we'll take it
Only seen it twice.
from them each
It's
time.
the Hammond Road one you're talking about there?
On Hammond Road, yes.
It's the second one, if you remember. Back a few years ago, they bought the first commercial piece and downgraded it.
Yeah,
And then I think they acquired the Marley piece, didn't they?
correct. Yep, this would be the Marley.
Sally Marley passed away. They acquired that piece, and they were down. That was also commercial. So yeah, it's really unusual you don't see a lot of downgrading
Right,
to zoning.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So this application, it includes both of those parcels. The previous application had happened before I got here, but it was done as a.
The first application, it was just for the piece to the.
Yeah.
It would be just east of there.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't, that's the only piece they owned.
Right,
And,
yeah.
They just acquired the second piece probably within the last year or so.
Yeah, so it'll essentially merge
Yeah,
them
just-
at the end process of all this. So
Yeah, they
makes
just-
it a little cleaner. So
I remember when they came to the planning commission, it was just, they just wanted to make it their own little nature preserve. They just, so,
Neat people.
yeah.
all right.
Any other questions for Steve? Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Steve.
Thank you.
All right, Parks and Rec, I don't see anybody here from Parks and Rec, it's just in your packet. Yeah, I will say there was some nice pictures, I think, from Parks and Rec in there on River East, the construction of the playground. And I just happened to have a family member send me some live photos tonight of their nephew, my nephew's kids swinging on the swing set and sliding down the slide. So the 5-year-old gave his approval of the River East Park. So really nice piece. So there's actually a picture in there of the playground completed except for the base unit in there. So it's kind of nice.
Question.
Yeah.
Would it be a nice thing for the Parks Committee to do an open house at with the new playground and the new park, and some way to highlight that that's coming into the community in a more visual way?
I think that's Chris, go ahead.
My plan was as we've got more of the phases completed, had the pavement put in, the bathroom, do a grand opening. Because
At the end of it.
right now, we're probably only about 50% of our plan.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I was thinking.
And we're not looking too far down the road for the,
I hope not. Yeah. You know, the Parks and Rec Commission meets here in a few weeks, and, you know, I want to meet with them to prioritize some things and get some timelines in order to see this. It's planned to be finished this year, and I want to see that happens.
Bathrooms are the main thing that they want.
Yeah.
We had a meeting this past week because of special things coming on, so the bathrooms are the main thing there, too.
I mean, even if the bathrooms get delayed, to Molly's point, let's not delay the opening for those. We can
don't
still.
want to do it in December.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it is, I'll be honest with you, I think Chris and I visited the park last week. It's the first time I've been there, and I was impressed. It was very nice. A couple things in my report about that.
Do you have any trouble finding it?
No, I knew right where it was. I drove by it every day on my way to work for.
We need some
A
signage there.
lot of people do. We need a little more visible sign.
Signage,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's a hidden gem for sure. It really is. So, okay, thank you. Treasurer's report.
So in your packet is my quarterly report from the treasurer's office. Nothing really crazy to report. Just the ARPA account, we've been spending down the money. We paid for the playground, and then we transferred the money from the ARPA to the general for the sheriff's contract. We have to spend that by the end of 2026, so we anticipate we'll spend it all this year. So we'll be good. And then my tax account, you always see a big swing in there when I'm done distributing for the year. And then there's the second page is the breakdown of all of our investments in our managed accounts, and nothing much else. Any questions for me?
All right, thanks, Loy.
Yeah, thanks.
Clerk's report.
I've submitted my clerk's report in writing. Are there any questions? Nope. Okay, we're just doing business as normal, and we've registered 5 new voters in the last 2 weeks, which is
Great.
kind of cool.
Really?
Not even in election time, so
I know.
it's crazy. All right. Chris, Township Manager's report.
Okay. So the supervisor and I attended a stakeholder meeting, I think it was last week, regarding a trail, a train project that started 7 years ago, roughly, part of the grand visioning process. And a local nonprofit is working with another entity in Cadillac to further study the feasibility of this train that will route to Williamsburg, around Traverse City, head south 37 out the track that way, and then down to Ann Arbor, and then be able to catch the Amtrak that goes to Detroit or Chicago area. So right now, it's kind of the beginning of all the stakeholder meetings. There's roughly like 10 different stops between here and south. So they're talking to all those communities, all the stakeholders, doing feasibility studies, talking about how fast the train should even travel, so that way it's profitable. So they're just going through this lengthy process to decide if it's something that they want to do. So we attended that last week, and we're kind of updated on it. So as we learn more, we'll let you know. I did email you a slideshow that we saw, so you have a copy of everything that we received. We also were contacted by Business View magazine, which is out of Florida, several weeks ago about being featured in one of their upcoming articles that is labeled American Economic Resiliency, Best of 2025 Michigan Issue. So basically, the magazine contacted us to see if we would be interviewed, which we did last week, and asked us a bunch of questions on things such as, challenges that we face, innovations, economic development, local industry, business success stories and growth, developments, redevelopment, infrastructure projects, planning that we've been doing, tourism, executive travel, what makes Garfield a great place to invest or move a business to, and what the future holds for our community and the visitors of Garfield Township. So they're going to put everything that we said into an article, give it back to us to review for accuracy, and then if we say go ahead, then it is potentially be printed into this magazine, which apparently has 840,000 subscribers worldwide, or actually North America. So and it's a digital print, so it's through email and a website presence. So, and there was other communities featured in this magazine over the last 3 years: Greenville, Jackson, Tecumseh, Saginaw, and Portage. They were all highlighted in this magazine. So, and we looked at the articles; they were kind of neat. So, Supervisor and I said, "Sure, why not?" So, yeah. So
We'll find out how we sounded when it comes out, I guess.
I know, right? Yeah, wait till we read it and verify it. I didn't say that. Another thing that has come up on the radar is Creekside and Stone Ridge PUD and a sidewalk connection between those two developments. The supervisor and I are working with former Supervisor Korn on talking with those folks there and bringing a resolution to it. There's still people in those communities that, feel like things weren't resolved, but we felt that they were on our end, but we're still taking just another little look from a different angle to see if there's a way that we can put that to bed and move on. So that's something that we're working on recently. Cherryland Center redevelopment area update. At this point, the committee has not met that I know of, which will happen in the near future. We're at a point now where the owners are providing investment information to our assessors. They have to prove through various means.
Document.
What's that?
They have to document.
Yeah, they have to provide documents that they had these investments, and then the assessor has to certify them. So, and I also confirmed with the state that the investment period is not like a moving window, meaning that like today's March 13th, so you can or May 13th, you can only go back 3 years. That's not the case. So basically, you identify a 3-year period of time. MLCC suggested 22, 23, and 24, January to December of 24. And in looking at the figures, there is enough investment there, as long as it's certified, to meet the requirements. So that's good news. And it's not like we have to quickly get it certified, otherwise we're going to lose 22. That's not the case. So I did tell our assessor and the owners that, hey, let's just be diligent in getting this finished and not kind of wait around. So also I did get some questions answered about quota licenses. Quota licenses that we assign can be transferred anywhere in the county after 3 years. So for instance, High Tops, if he wants to sell that in 3 years to some business that's going down in Fife Lake, he can do that. The redevelopment license has to stay with the address that you approve it. And that's, again, a 3-year window. If it can be transferred, if another business wants to come in there and buy that and operate a business that would use it, that's fine. But if there isn't a transfer and the business goes out of business, then they have to, the former business has to surrender that to MLCC, and the license just gets canceled. So, I think learning about all this, you want to make sure that when you approve these, that you're going to, hopefully get a business that's going to be sustained. Otherwise, you chance losing one of those licenses that are pretty valuable.
Right.
So at this point, with everything at the Cheerland Center is progressing as, I hope, and hopefully be resolved pretty quickly here. So. Also, I attended a Northern Lower and Traverse Bay Area Traffic Safety Network legislative meeting down in Kingsley yesterday, and I was a little bit out of place. There was a trustee from Blair there, but it was a lot of law enforcement and MDOT and Road Commission. So it was all about safety. And our MDOT manager commented how he'd like to see local officials there. And so that made me feel good that I was there and I was building relationships and networking. So that was valuable. And then the information that they provided, there was a presentation by the prosecutor on the decision-making process that goes into prosecuting serious traffic crashes or fatals. So she went through her logic and how that process takes place. Also, there's some car seat law changes that kids who are 12 years old who are going to get out of a car seat can't do it now until they're 13. So the law just changed in April, extending that age to 13 years old.
13 years old in a car seat?
Yeah.
A booster
That was
seat?
just the back seat.
You're talking about a booster seat?
This is a car seat in general versus, like a booster seat as well. Yeah, so 13 years old, you can't put them in a seat just with a seatbelt. That's what I was led to believe yesterday, because there was.
That's not right. No, that
Can't
is,
be.
no, it's the back seat. They have to stay in the back seat. Because my 11-year-old granddaughter is bigger than me.
Okay.
She wouldn't fit in a booster seat.
Yeah, see,
I'll double check that as the meeting goes on.
You should be in a
Clarify that.
booster.
I need to be in a
Yeah.
But the way it made it sound is like one of the guys who was there, his kid is 12 years old, and he was excited to be out of the booster seat. Yeah.
wow.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I think
Am I wrong?
I think it's the front seat.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Forget I said that.
Wait, we got
Move on.
Dr. Google's out there. Everybody's.
But anyways,
Oh, Paul's looking for it?
The graphic that she sent from that says all children under 13 years old must ride in the rear seat of a vehicle if the vehicle has one.
okay, so
Rear seat.
Under 13.
Yeah.
so no
Rear
front seat
seat.
rides.
No front seat.
A lot of upset kids now.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
but this is a quarterly meeting, and they're not going to meet till the fall again, so I'll continue to attend them. I think it's valuable. And then also to Commissioner Flynn's point about safe routes to school, I am going to attend that meeting next week, and also told Ginger that if needed, we would commit some resources to that audit because it does benefit our township. So we'll find out what the needs are at the meeting, I guess, is what I was told. That's all I have from our board.
All right.
Any questions?
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, and I'll say that if you want to have a crowd just walk down the trails between Stone Ridge and Creekside, you'll have about 8 people come out and start attacking you on
Wonder what
what
you're
you're doing there and what you're going to do. And we drew a lot of attention just walking down the trail for a few minutes. But anyway, so a few things on my report. First of all, the update on the Commons water issues. We're proceeding nicely with that. Matt took off, but we did have Mark Nettleton finish the draft lease. We have the booster station at Munson. There's no lease or nothing on file that even identifies that we even have that there or can have that there. So it's just a formality, but we drafted a new lease for Munson to file for that. And then he's working on the paperwork for the transition to the city and back to us now at this point in time. And the city wants to take that up at their June City Commission meeting, June 2nd, I believe. BPW Finance last week, I don't know if I mentioned this to the board before, that there was some, I don't know if it's controversy on the size of the BPW board. It was 11 members, and now that the population is a certain size, whether it goes back to 9 and so on, it's been going back and forth, and 2 members expired and weren't renewed. So they asked BPW Finance to weigh in on that, and we recommended to the BPW board that they vote and recommend to the county board that we reduce the BPW board to 9 versus 11, and the 2 at-larges would be the 2 removed from that. Is what the recommendation currently is. the rural representative expired and is currently not there, but we didn't feel that the rural representative should be, the supervisor representation would probably be more valuable than the at-large. So we'll see how that goes, and that's really just a stopgap until we, if we proceed toward an authority, the makeup of that board will be totally different and look totally different at that point anyway. I don't think you'll see nearly as many members that are not supervisors on that board once it becomes an authority, if that happens. MTA, many of you attended, most people, a lot of us attended the MTA, Grand Traverse County Road Commission meeting over at Long Lake. Really good informative meeting, a lot of good information there. A couple things that, just note that came out. I know a nice article in the paper from our governor here last week that indicated that the private sector needs to contribute more to roads, so that was interesting. And then also, Chris and I are going next week to a local road commission safety evaluation of the Cedar Run Barney area, so we're not quite sure what's going on with that, but we'll update you when we have more on that. Interesting, it kind of ties maybe in with your meeting down in Kingsley all about safety. I guess I found out this week that I am officially the park plan representative for our district. Nobody else ran, so July 1st, I am the new board of directors for Michigan Park Plan Insurance. So it's a 3-year term that starts on July 1st. So I like those elections where nobody runs. I guess it makes it easy. And then just two things on the park. Chris and I went out to the park. We were over at the road commission meeting last week, or actually it was the rail meeting we went to. Chris suggested we go to the park, and Chris thought I was campaigning and kissing babies over there when I was in the dog park visiting with people, but we had a good visit. It was really interesting. But a couple things that came out of that from where I stand. The first thing is what a beautiful park, amazing. The first time I've been there. Yeah, this $1 million park with a big tin can sitting in the middle of it. Okay, so if you've seen the pole building over there, it's less than impressive. So I'd kind of suggest or like to have the board or whoever talk to the Parks and Rec next week and say, let's have that building looked at. If it structurally it looks fine, but it needs a new skin and a roof on it. I mean, that's probably 60 plus year old aluminum siding that it looks awful in the middle of that park. So it's a big building. I mean, it's being used, but I would suggest maybe it needs to be re-sided and re-roofed and brought up to the standards of the park if we're going to keep it there. If we're not, then we'll take it out because it just doesn't look good. So, and an idea came up of the people that it actually has some validity. I'd like to also have you to take the Parks and Rec look at it. Dog parks are amazing over there and being used a lot. And as we talk to the people, you think about that River East Park and look at the population right over the hill, all of Kings Court, all of Ridge 45. It's all apartments and trailers. Those people don't have any place to take their kids and walk their dogs. So those parks are getting used a lot. But they said a real challenge is the wintertime. It's dark at 5:30. Would we consider putting some spotlights and keeping those parks open maybe till 8 o'clock and then the lights go out? I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Right now our parks close at dusk. Well, the wintertime dusk is 5:30, so people get out of work at 5 o'clock. They don't have time to go run their dogs for an hour before dark. So I'd ask maybe them to look at that and bring something back to us.
That was actually brought up at our last meeting,
Was it?
is if there was something that can be done, because when people get off at 5 o'clock in the wintertime and they want to take their dog, our parks are closed because it's dusk.
Right.
So that was brought up at the commission meeting, if we could possibly do an ordinance of some sort to be able to have them open in the wintertime longer.
So that's exactly what the input was from the group that was there.
That was brought up too on our meeting on Monday.
Joe just said.
Perfect. So that's pretty much all I had. Any questions for me? So, all right, we'll move on then.
Might want to talk to your parks guys about that, what they use that building for, because they're storing equipment in there, and it does a lot of duty, so.
Oh,
Reskinning it might be a good idea.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get rid of the building. They have their equipment in there, and I think I almost looked at it and thought, you know, why don't we take half of them, make it the bathrooms? It almost looked like it might have been, maybe it wasn't even a possibility, but it's a big building, you know, but that might be a little bit more complicated, but I don't think it's, I don't think I want to get rid of it. If we're going to keep it, I think it just needs to be upgraded, because it's just all old looking.
Going back on that, would that be something that we could do an ordinance on regarding, not your building, but as the, and putting lights out on those, and then we could bring it back to the commission and,
Yeah, we'd probably have to amend the ordinance to.
right, we'd have to amend the ordinance. That's what I said that we would probably have to do, because they were all for that, because they have heard, as commissioners too, that they were having issues with that when 5 o'clock in the wintertime, they get off work and they can't take their dog there.
Or they are, and it's dark. You know.
Absolutely.
So you want to do it for all the parks?
Well, if we did it for, well, I'd say both the main parks, you know, east and west. I don't know how many other dog parks we have, but, you know, I would say, yeah. I mean, if a couple of floodlights on timers that, you know, maybe we keep the park open till 7. That gives them an hour to get their dogs there, walk them, and then the lights out. We don't want to keep them open all night. I don't
Right,
think anything like
right.
that, but I think it's a reasonable request, and that came right
Maybe
from,
we can get a recommendation from the Parks and Rec Committee.
let's let the
Well,
Parks and
that's
Rec.
a recommendation they had, but I
Yeah.
didn't think it would, to do an ordinance, we had to redo our ordinance.
Well, it'll give them something to, you know, come up with something, formalize something to bring it back to us for, we got some time. But if we're gonna get some lights installed out there, it's something we'd probably wanna start sooner rather than later and get it done before winter, so. Okay. All right, I don't see anything under unfinished business, so under new business, we have consideration of hiring human resources partners to conduct a salary survey. So, I don't know, Chris, are you taking that one?
So this was brought up at our last meeting about considering using a company to do a survey. We did a lot of work when we hired our assessor internally to determine comparables, and it's just a lot of work. And also, the Personnel Committee discussed that there are several positions currently that should have their salaries evaluated, and, you know, if they need to be adjusted, be adjusted. But we wanted to compare that to, or compare those positions to other municipalities to make sure that we're compensating them correctly or consistently. So it's a lot of work to do that, and the committee felt, you know, that we should hire a company. And this board, last meeting, agreed, or kind of approved that we get some quotes, is what you have in your packet. So they're all very similar. When I look through them, you know, even in cost, the HRP is the highest cost proposal. But if you look through them, Axios, their quote covers 25 positions. We don't have that many. HR Navigation, 15. We have more than 15. And HRP is in the sweet spot for 18 employees. That would cover our needs. The Axios did not have a deadline of when they would complete the project. The committee did not like that. The other two did, 4 weeks and 4 weeks to 6 weeks with HRP. One thing that we liked is that they're going to review our job descriptions and update them to best practices. The only thing is Axios didn't commit to that in their proposal. Just the other two did. They all committed to doing the salary survey to the extent that it's needed. And then also Axios was not going to create like a salary range. They were going to work with us, the other two, to create a salary range of a low end and a high end. And Axios did not. So in the end, the committee you know, was going to recommend to the board that we go with HRP. We liked the level of detail in their proposal, and our hope was that the work that they do, the service that they would provide, would match. It's more detailed, we felt, than the other ones. Also, they engage our employees more than the other companies, where they survey them and actually make them part of the process. So that was important to the committee as well. So they're higher than the other ones, but we feel like the proposal offers a little bit more than the others.
So that's 7,650?
Correct.
Okay.
Question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have any experience, recommendations from the community of anybody who's used any of these guys?
So our HR professional, who's one of our trustees, is not here today. She was familiar with Axios and HRP, not so much Navigation HR, and talked favorably about the two. So HRP, she was very high on them.
And they're local.
Yep, and they're local.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of them are.
Where Axios, I think, is nationwide.
333 6th Street.
Yeah. Well, okay, but as far as we know, anybody specifically that's used them before, you can call up and say, hey, how did they do?
We kind of just relied on our personnel committee member who was in the HR professional to give us
Okay.
some guidance, and we trust her opinion.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. It sounds like a fairly good price for the work.
I would make a motion to approve the committee's recommendation to hire HRP.
I support it.
Motion made and supported to approve the contract. Would Chris be signing that? Or would I be signing?
Supervisor is the sign.
Supervisor, so.
Yeah.
So make a recommendation, I approve that contract in the amount of $7,650. Any other questions on that or discussion? Hearing none, Ann, can we have a roll on that one, please?
Corn.
Yes.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Al McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
And Jamin.
Yes, thank you. All right, thanks,
thank you.
thanks for that. Next item on the agenda is discussion about a township flag. This was kind of I brought this up when we were down in Grand Rapids, but the company put together some proposals on flags with some input from us. I mean, our flag's pretty dated, it's wrong colors, even has the wrong date on it. So, my recommendation based on the input I had is if you looked at basically the middle item, the B line, the first one, the one that has the full logo on it, the established 1882, the primarily green flag with the shoes. That's my preference. That's the one I kind of like. So I'd like to.
I have to agree with you because it also says Grand Traverse County on it.
Right.
Because how many Garfield townships do we have in Michigan?
Mhm.
And I agree with you that it should have that on it with Garfield Township, Grand Traverse County.
If you look at the flags that we saw, the variety of flags down there, they all have a lot of graphics and things about their townships. They don't just say the name, or they don't just. So that would be my preference. And in part of the proposal, I wanted, is a new presentation stand for here, but it also for, I think indoor and outdoor, wasn't that planned? Something for our flagpole and for a presentation both. So
I agree with
That
you.
one's at least 17 years old.
Oh, yeah.
that one, or
The blue one.
at least, yeah. It's been.
Can I make a
That's been
motion?
here a while. Huh?
Can I make a motion that we?
Do we have a dollar amount on this at all, or?
So did a little research. The flags that we currently have, we bought 2 of them about 3 years ago. We're about $650 for 2 of them. And if you were to go with like a screen printed version, double-sided, it'd be about $188 each. Single-sided, $102. The ones we have are double-sided where you can see it on both sides.
Right.
So I think that this looks good. I also learned that there's a local lady who actually hand sews those. So it's actually hand sewn. I think it was 10 to 12 weeks out to have it done. And because of the, I don't have a quote yet because really I got to provide the design to the company to get an accurate quote. So I think, if you can consider that we paid $650 3 years ago, inflation and stuff like that, it's not gonna be too much more. Well within our purchasing policy to,
Right.
for me to purchase it.
And I think the stand, we looked at a new stand and pole for a couple hundred.
$150 roughly.
150, $200, really get it real nice with an eagle on top, that kind of a thing, so,
Escaretta, it
But we
looks
need
like
to
we
get-
need a new American flag here too.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, can we replace both so they match?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
I just said the American flag doesn't look too healthy there.
That might not be a bad idea to get matching presentation posts on an American flag too. That could be a pretty easy purchase there.
Are we
yeah.
going to get 2 flags, one to fly outside?
Yes,
Okay.
one to fly outside, one for presentation. And I actually like Molly or Denise, whoever came up with, let's replace the American flag with a new one so they match. So I don't know if we can come up with a new do not exceed by, or do you want to bring us a better number at the next meeting, or just, is it within our purchasing power?
It would definitely be, yeah, so.
Okay,
I
just,
think if you-
just make the motion then.
I would like to make a motion that we do a new Garfield Township flag, B3, and purchase an American flag also at that time,
With matching
with
presentations.
matching
Presentation.
presentation post, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's gonna be one side,
Two
Be
sides.
two-sided.
Two sides.
so
I like
three
the
and four?
two-sided, so it doesn't matter which side
Or
you're looking
both?
at.
Okay, 3.
Is there support for that motion?
Support.
Motion made and supported to purchase new presentation and outdoor flags, double-sided, and a new presentation post and a new American flag and presentation post, and authorize the township manager to move forward with that. So, any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, and you have the roll on, just make sure.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Was that Al McManus? Yeah.
Yes.
McCumber?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Gustinelli?
Yes,
And J. McManus.
Yes, thank you. All right. Now we are at our next public comment. Our public is dwindling quickly, but we still will open it up officially.
Everybody run up there
Yeah, they're
quick.
not moving. So we're going to go ahead and close public comment. And we'll have a couple things, like I said, meetings pick up next couple weeks. We have a lot of stuff going on, so we'll have an update. Hopefully at the next meeting, we'll talk a little bit about this Barney and Cedar Run issue, what the road commissioner has in mind there, so.
One other thing too, the police memorial service is Thursday at 2 PM in front of the governmental center.
What day is that?
Thursday
Thursday?
at 2 PM in front of the governmental center.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and point of interest, we got an email from, I don't know, where she's a resident of a citizen somewhere that was complaining about Potter Road and how she drives it every day and her car is falling apart. And my initial response was, you might want to find a different way to drive every day than drive that every day. But the Road Commission did respond to her saying that their intention was to have Potter Road replaced by July, I think he said in his email to her. So it sounds like Potter Road's going to get moved up to the top of the list to get fixed. And so that's good news on that one, so. All right. Well, if there's nothing else to come before the board, I'll stand adjourned.
Yeah.